Contribute your quota to make her great. Now, the news in full. The federal government has commenced a nationwide consultation with state and other stakeholders to develop a national water compact aimed at addressing Nigeria's persistent water and sanitation challenges and strengthening water security across the country. Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Yusuf, discussed this in Abuja at the nationwide stakeholders consultation workshop for the development of the Nigeria National Water Compact. Professor Yusuf said the initiative was necessary to address persistent challenges in the water sector, including rapid urbanization, population growth, climate change, environmental degradation, inadequate infrastructure, fragmented institutionalized arrangement, and financing constraints. The development of the compact comes amidst long-standing concerns over the country's ability to provide safe water, sanitation, and hygiene services to its booming population. Recent efforts have increasingly focused on improving coordination between the federal government and state government, increasing investment in water infrastructure, and strengthening institutional arrangement in the sector.
The federal government says about 60% of active electricity customers in Nigeria have now been metered as it continues efforts to reduce the country's electricity metering gap and end arbitrary estimated billing. This is contained in a statement issued by Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, Mr. Stanley Nwocha, following the second meeting of the National Council on Privatization for 2026, chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima at the Presidential Villa Abuja. According to the statement, the metering exercise is being carried out under Phase 1 of the $500 million World Bank financed distribution sector recovery program, alongside initiatives such as the Presidential Metering Initiative. The Director General of the Bureau of Public Enterprises, Mr. Ayodeji Bilei, said 668,000 meters had so far been installed out of the 1,033,000 meters delivered under the program. Mr. Bilei said the metering initiative was aimed at closing the electricity metering gap and eliminating arbitrary estimated billing for registered customers across the country. The BPE bus also disclosed that about 17 states had established state electricity regulatory commissions since April 2024, following the transition provided for under the Electricity Act. The metering exercise is being carried out under Phase 1 of the $500 million World Bank financed distribution sector recovery program, alongside initiatives such as the Presidential Metering Initiative.
The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria FAN has cleared a ride-hailing platform to immediately resume operations at airports nationwide, following an operational agreement reached between both parties. A statement issued by FAN Director of Public Relations and Consumer Protection, Mr. Henry Agbebire. The authority said the agreement followed a dispute that had disrupted ride-hailing airport operations and generated complaints from passengers. FAN said the disagreement was rooted in nearly a decade of effort to address safety, security, and accountability concerns surrounding commercial and e-hailing vehicles operating at its airport. The authorities said the concerns include unregulated passenger pickups and solicitation, as well as cases involving drivers operating across multiple ride-hailing platforms simultaneously. FAN apologized to passengers affected by the disruption, saying it had reviewed its position and made necessary adjustments following feedback from stakeholders. FAN said its airport car hire management and regulatory system was introduced in response to safety, security, and accountability concerns.
Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has pledged to heal the wounds caused by recent election-related violence and pursue an inclusive administration as the state marks its 35th anniversary. Governor Adeleke made the commitment in a state broadcast to commemorate the 35th anniversary of the creation of Osun State. The governor acknowledged the losses and destruction suffered by residents during the recent governorship election, expressing sympathy with families who lost loved ones and those injured in the violence. He commended residents for the commitment to democracy and the rule of law, noting that they resisted the temptation to take the law into their own hands despite provocations. According to Governor Adeleke, residents demonstrated courage by turning out to vote despite the violence and defending their votes at personal risk, saying the conduct of residents had projected Osun as a model of democratic practice.
Absence of a primary school, lack of electricity supply and poor road network are some of the challenges confronting the people of Ilegun community in Ejigbo South local government area of Osun State. In view of this, Onilegun of Ilegun Obabakari Oyebi has appealed to Governor Ademola Adeleke to include the community in the development agenda of his administration, particularly during his second term. Speaking with Radio Nigeria, Oba Oyebi noted that virtually all communities under Ejigbo South LCDA had basic amenities except Ilegun, hence the need for government intervention. The traditional ruler explained that children in Ilegun community had to trek to neighboring towns, including Ejigbo and Ilawo, to access primary education. Oboyebi also said farmers in the community face difficulties transporting their farm produce to towns and markets due to the poor road network, resulting in significant wastage.
School holidays offer children a break from academic activities, providing time to rest, play, and engage in activities outside the classroom. But with a long holiday comes the question of how best to keep children engaged without depriving them of the rest and recreation they need. Correspondent Jason Dusin Owosheni examines how children can make meaningful use of their holidays while maintaining a healthy balance between learning, recreation, and rest.
The Nigerian educational calendar consists of 3 terms, with the first and second terms having shorter breaks, while the third term is followed by a longer holiday of about 6 to 8 weeks. For many families, the long break presents an opportunity for children to explore activities beyond their regular classroom routine. While some parents enroll their children in holiday lessons, popularly known as summer coaching, others encourage them to take part in sports, vocational training, creative activities, and other forms of learning. But beyond keeping children occupied, experts say the holiday should also provide adequate time for rest and recreation. A teacher in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, Mrs. Roslyn Ogbeyin, says children need the break to rest their minds after spending several months engaged in academic activities.
Students should relax their brain, go on vacation, change environment, change things that they've been doing for the past.
Parents, however, have different perspectives on how best to keep their children engaged during the long break. A mother, Mrs. Oluwarantimi Afolayan, says she prefers her children to attend summer coaching, as this will help them remain academically active and prepare for the next school session.
I want them to go to summer coaching so that they won't be playing too much.
For another parent, Mr. Lanre Akombi, holidays should give children enough time to rest, go on vacation, and explore new places and experiences outside their usual environment.
Having kids in school, I count the holiday time for a time of refreshment, time where they will refresh their brain, relax. Body needs to be relaxed, especially as a young folks. You need to engage them, engage their brain in another thing.
Some of those who spoke with Radio Nigeria said they would prefer to stay at home, relax, learn vocational skills, or engage in other productive activities.
I prefer learning work because I should just cool my brain. I want to stay at home and learn a skill because of the economy of the country.
I feel like we should rest our brain so that we can rest our brain for the next term.
A guidance counselor, Mr. Anemwa Akpeogene, says parents should understand that children have different interests and should consider these when planning activities for the holiday. The counselor advises parents to strike a balance between learning, recreation, and adequate rest, rather than making the holiday entirely academic.
The teaching learning process is a way of keeping that OA going.
Mr. Akpewo-Gene says a well-planned holiday should not only keep children productively engaged, but also allow them to return to school refreshed, energized, and better prepared for the demands of a new academic session. Ultimately, the holiday may be most beneficial when children are allowed to learn something new, develop their interests, spend quality time with family, play, and importantly, get enough rest. In Ibadan, Jesudunsi Owosheni, Radio Nigeria.
The Defense Headquarters has debunked a viral video purportedly showing the Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, making statements suggesting partisan political support. In a statement issued on its social media handle, the Defense Headquarters described the video as fabricated and said it did not originate from the Chief of Defense Staff. It also dismissed statements attributed to Oluyede in the video, urging members of the public to disregard them. According to the military authorities, the video was produced through artificial intelligence generated manipulation, now apparently designed to mislead the public and misrepresent the position of the Chief of Defense Staff. The Defense Headquarters reaffirmed the non-partisan position of the Nigerian military, stressing that the armed forces remain committed to the constitutional responsibilities. The Defense Headquarters condemned the creation and circulation of the video and warned those responsible for producing it, as well as individuals knowingly sharing the material, to stop immediately. The statement urges Nigerians to rely only on information released through its official communication channels and disregard the circulating video.
The Commissioner of Police in Kwara State, Mr. Ojo Adekimi, has commenced an unannounced operational inspection of police divisions and formations across the state to assess officers' readiness, discipline and working conditions. The Command's Police Public Relations Officer, Mr. Adetun Ejiri Adeyemi, disclosed this in a statement. Mr. Adekimi explains that the exercise, which began recently, has also seen the Commissioner inspect the Area Command, Metro, Ilorin and 12 police divisional headquarters within the Ilorin Metropolis. According to the statement, the inspection was designed to enable the Commissioner personally assess the professional disposition and commitment of officers, identify operational challenges and capability gaps, and obtain a first-hand assessment of the realities confronting personnel across the command. The Commissioner also charges officers to embrace proactive and intelligence-driven approaches to crime prevention, stressing that professionalism, accountability and community policing would remain central to his operational strategy.
Drug abuse is no longer a new concept in Nigeria, as the idea has become widely accepted as abnormal use of drugs in a socially unacceptable manner. The circumstances leading to substance or drug abuse, its effect and ways of minimizing or curbing the menace forms the focus of this special report by Oluwafemi Olariwaju.
Drug or substance abuse is an age-long phenomenon that's known not only in Africa but also in Nigeria. Although efforts have been made by governmental and non-governmental organizations to nip drug abuse in the bud, the menace has defied effort as some individuals, especially youth and older age groups, regardless of gender, race, tribe, or ethnic background, indulge in it on a daily basis. Drug abuse occurs when some persons are under the influence of a drug and may result in a long-term personality changes in individuals. According to the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, with 244 million users, cannabis remains the most widely used drug, followed by opioid 61 million, amphetamine 30.7 million, cocaine 25 million, and ecstasy 21 million. Reports indicate that drug abuse has multiple effects on its users, such as physical and mental damage. Drug abuse alters brain chemistry, leading to severe physical organ damage, mental health disorder, and chronic addiction. Commenting on the class and characteristics factors that induce individuals engaging in drug abuse, a psychiatrist, Dr. Adeni Ilawa, said many youths abuse drugs in an attempt to boost their confidence and gain acceptance among their peers. Dr. Lawa explained that drug abuse is also common among individuals involved in internet fraud and other quick money schemes, as they believe the substance helps them carry out these activities. The psychiatrist further noted that drug abuse is closely linked to various forms of antisocial behavior, including stealing, kidnapping, armed robbery, cultism, and in some cases, murder. He added that prolonged drug use can lead to dependency, where individuals become unable to function normally without taking drugs.
It leads to severe depression and likely to trigger suicidal behavior among users. It strains social relationship and may lead to neglect of children. It may lead to social stigma. Times may cause accidents.
Elaborating on the effects of drugs on the society, a clinical psychologist at the Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Lautech, Ogbomoso, Dr. Oluwafisayo Adebimpe explained that drug abuse has a profound impact on an individual's behavior, judgment, and decision making. According to her, adults who abuse drugs often experience cognitive difficulties that affect their ability to think clearly, concentrate, solve problems, and make sound decisions. Dr. Adebimpe explained that victims may also struggle with memory loss, poor attention span, and impaired reasoning. The overall impact, according to Dr. Adebimpe, could lead to decline in work performance, while their relationship, family, friends, and colleagues becomes strained.
So a lot of effects that this could also have on behavior is that it could be in a short and long-term thing, that eventually you see some, they become very paranoid, aggressive, and some might even go into different kinds of psychopathology.
Speaking on the social effects, a sociologist, Mr. Matthew Oladeji, emphasized that drug addiction weakens the society. Mr. Oladeji said drug abuse creates serious public health challenges by altering the brain's chemistry and affecting its normal structure and function. Adding this on the long run affects normal social relations in the society.
The consequence of some of these hard drugs, it affects the system of their body from functioning effectively. It causes sudden death. It disorganizes their future plans, and it can even lead them to jail.
He, however, advised drug addicts to avoid the temptation of get-rich-quick scheme, as the pressure to succeed quickly could lead some people to misuse drugs in an attempt to improve their performance or cope with stress. He stressed the need for youth to avoid individuals involved in antisocial behavior, as they often encourage or normalize drug abuse. In Ibadan, Oluwafemi Olanrewaju, Radio Nigeria.
Christian wake for Deaconess Anna Idobe will hold today at the family's residence, Idobe Street, off St. James School, Iyana Church, Ibadan, at 5 o'clock in the evening. According to a statement by the family, an interment service will hold tomorrow at CAC Okerono District Headquarters, Abayomi Bus Stop, Iwo Road, Ibadan, at 9 o'clock in the morning. Deaconess Anna Idobe died on the 13th of last month at the age of 70. She is survived by her husband and children, including Elizabeth Idobe, a contract staff with Radio Nigeria, Ibadan.
The General Secretary of the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC, Mr. Emmanuel Waja, is dead. The development was disclosed in a letter from the late General Secretary's family to members of the NLC National Executive Council. According to the report, the letter was made public by the NLC President, Mr. Joe Ajaero. Mr. Waja was the 5th General Secretary of the NLC.
This is the world today, the stories that made the headlines. Federal government has begun nationwide consultation on National Water Roadmap. Nigerian military debunked viral political endorsement video. Still to come, US imposes terrorism sanctions on UK-based pro-Palestinian group. 2 die in car crash in France. Details shortly.
You're still with us on the Southwest Network of Radio Nigeria and the World News. Now to the foreign scene. United States have imposed sanctions on Palestine Action, a United Kingdom-based pro-Palestinian direct action activist group founded in 2020, designating it as a terrorist group. The United States said the action was taken since the group had supported numerous acts of terrorism since July 2020. Supporting Palestinian action became illegal in the United Kingdom in 2025 after the government banned the group under anti-terrorism legislation. Group co-founder Huda Mori responded in a social media post saying the ban should serve as a wake-up call to anyone who cares about free speech and democracy. Sanctions included freezing any asset belonging to the group that are based in the United States or controlled by U.S. citizens. Palestine Action, which has used so-called direct action tactics against Israeli-linked armed companies in the United Kingdom, has been involved in an ongoing legal battle to overturn its UK ban.
Scientists say a glacier collapse may have triggered a devastating flash flood that swept through parts of Nepal and Tibet, killing more than 160 people and leaving hundreds missing. Report says the disaster struck after a large section of ice and rock is believed to have broken away from a glacier near Langchang Lereng in Nepal's Himalayas. Satellite imagery revealed by experts suggests that a mass of ice and debris plunged from high altitude into a valley. The sudden surge carried huge amounts of water, mud, rocks, and debris downstream, devastating communities and damaging roads, bridges, and hydropower infrastructure along the Nepal-China border. Rescue operations are continuing on both sides of the Nepal-China border as authorities search for survivors and assess the scale of the destruction.
Alleged 9/11 terror attacks mastermind Khalid Mohammed will stand trial in June 2028, more than a quarter of a century after the attacks that the United States government described as one of the most shocking criminal acts on American soil in modern history. A military judge ruled that the trial will begin in 2 years, saying 2027 date sought by prosecutors was too soon. Report says Mohammed had reached a plea deal under which he will admit guilt in exchange for avoiding death penalty trial, but a federal appeal court threw out the agreement last summer. Mohammed, who was arrested in 2003, had been held in Guantanamo Bay since September 2006. He has previously said he planned the 2001 9/11 operation from beginning to end. Next month will mark 25 years since hijackers flew planes into the World Trade Center in New York and the Pentagon in Virginia, while another hijacked flight crashed into a field of Pennsylvania, United States. About 3,000 people were killed in the attacks.
2 persons have been killed and 10 others injured after a car crashed into a group of people near a train station in Caen, northern France. Reports say a car deliberately rammed into pedestrians opposite the station, with 7 of those injured reportedly in critical condition.
Heart of the Matter today takes a look at checkmating arbitrary increase in prices of goods, written by an intern from Ladoke, Akitola University of Technology, Lautech, Ogbomoso in Oyo State, Akuyum Abdusalam.
Prices in Nigerian markets don't just rise with the economy. It's like wings, and once they fly up, they forget how to land. This aptly describes the rise in prices of goods and services in the country, such that when economic conditions worsen, they rarely decline when those conditions improve, which is what Nigerians experienced. This aptly describes the rise in prices of goods and services in the country, such that when economic conditions worsen, they rarely decline when those conditions improve, which is what Nigerians experienced daily as a result of this phenomenon. It appears that the country is operating what could be described as a one-way economy, where prices move easily upward but almost never downward, with implications that are deep, particularly in the housing sector and the survival of the Nigerian middle class. If Nigeria must build a fair and functional economy, then it is pertinent for government to confront the economics of pricing through deliberate policy reforms, and if necessary, a strong executive bill supported by legislation. Perhaps the most prominent example can be seen in cement, a key input in housing construction, which is largely produced locally using the country's abundant limestone deposits. Yet, its price has surged dramatically within a short period. According to the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, in its preliminary findings from its investigation into the cement industry, suggest possible price manipulation in the market. The agency disclosed that cement, which sold for about 3,500 naira per bag just a few years ago, has climbed sharply. By early this year, prices had risen to between 9,000 naira and 10,000 naira, and in several markets across the country. Cement now sells for 11,500 naira to 15,000 naira per bag, depending on location. The concern raised is not limited to cement alone, as the prices of many goods continue to rise across the country, which sellers will attribute to high transportation costs and unstoppable dollar rate. Although government is trying on infrastructural development by disbursing more funds to the state government, it is important that state governments utilize this fund judiciously to reduce the price of goods. Governments can influence prices through monetary and fiscal policies such as appropriate taxation, the elimination of wasteful subsidies, and effective budget management can also contribute to price stability. Governments can also consider reducing import tariffs on essential goods, facilitate trade with neighboring countries, and promote regional and international trade agreements. Small and medium-scale enterprises play a significant role in driving economic growth and creating jobs as providing access to affordable credit. Simplify regulatory procedures and offering training and capacity building programs can empower SMEs. It is crucial for stakeholders to collaborate in implementing these strategies, ultimately benefiting the economy and improving the livelihoods of Nigerians.
The script on checkmating arbitrary increase in prices of goods was written by an intern from Ladoke Akitola University of Technology, Ogbomosho, Abdulkoyum Abdulsalam, read by Belinda Quadri.
To end the news on the world today, from the stable of Radio Nigeria, a look at the top stories. The federal government has commenced a nationwide consultation with states and other stakeholders to develop a national water compact aimed at addressing Nigeria's persistent water and sanitation challenges and strengthening water security across the country. The United States has imposed sanctions on Palestine Action, a United Kingdom-based pro-Palestinian direct action activist group founded in 2020, designating it as a terrorist group.
Well, that's it on the world today. Join us tomorrow for a fresh edition of The Package, edited by Modupe Toba. I am Remi or Molola from my colleague
Stephen Agbaje. Thank you for listening and do enjoy your evening.